Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into viewports in 3ds Max. Think of them as the eyes through which you will create, manipulate, and ultimately bring your 3D vision to life. Mastering viewports is fundamental. So let's get started. When you first open 3ds Max, you're typically greeted with these 4 default viewports. Each offers you a unique perspective on your 3D scene. This is the top view. Imagine looking down directly onto your scene. It's incredibly useful for positioning objects relative to each other on a horizontal plane. Next, we have the front view. As the name suggests, this shows you your scene from the front. It's ideal for adjusting the vertical position and the forward and backward placement of objects. Similarly, the left view provides a side-on perspective. This is crucial for fine-tuning the depth and vertical alignment of your models. Finally, the perspective viewport offers a 3-dimensional view, mimicking how our eyes perceive the world. This is often your go-to viewport for getting an overall feel for your scene's composition and spatial relationships. You are not stuck with this default arrangement. You can easily resize any viewport by hovering your mouse over the border between them until you see a double arrow cursor. Then, simply click and drag to make a viewport larger or smaller. This flexibility allows you to focus on a specific view when you need more detail. For even more control over your viewport arrangement, look for the small plus sign in the top left corner of any viewport. Clicking this opens the General Viewport Label menu. Here, if you hover over Configure Viewports, you'll find a submenu with various preset layouts. You can choose to have a single large perspective view, a vertical or horizontal split, or other combination of orthographic and perspective views. Experiment with these to find a layout that suits your current task. Let's zoom in on the perspective viewport. You will immediately notice the grid. This grid acts as a visual reference for the ground plan in your scene, helping you to gauge the size and placement of objects. You'll also see the XYZ axis tripod in the corner. This red arrow represents the X-axis, green the Y-axis, and blue the Z-axis. It's crucial for understanding the orientation of your 3D space. Now, let's bring something into our scene. We'll head over the Create panel, make sure Geometry is selected, and choose Sphere. Now, watch as I click and drag in the top viewport to define the base of the sphere. As I do this, you can see the sphere appearing simultaneously in the front, left, and perspective views. Then, by moving my mouse up or down, I can define the radius. Click again to finalize the sphere. Notice how each viewport gives you a different piece of the puzzle in terms of sphere's position and size. To interact with the sphere, let's select it. Now activate the Move tool by pressing the W key. If I grab one of the axis handles in the top view and move the sphere horizontally, you'll see that movement reflected in the front, left, and perspective views. Similarly, if I manipulate the sphere in the front view, its vertical and forward-backward position changes in all other viewports. This interconnectedness is what makes working with multiple views so efficient and precise. When you need to focus on the detail within a single viewport, you can quickly maximize it by selecting, making sure it has a yellow border, and pressing Alt plus W. This will make that viewport take up the entire 3ds Max window. Pressing Alt plus W again will bring back your previous viewport layout. This is incredibly useful for intricate modeling and fine-tuning object placement. The way your scene is displayed within each viewport is also customizable. If you right-click on the viewport label, for example, where it says Perspective, you will see a menu hover over View, and you will find various display options like Wireframe, which shows the underlying skeletal structure of your objects, and different shading modes like Realistic or Shaded, which give you a more solid representation. You can quickly toggle between wireframe and the last used shading mode by pressing the F3 key. Additionally, pressing F4 will overlay the edges of your geometry and a shaded view, which is helpful for seeing the polygon structure. The top right corner of each perspective viewport will usually find the viewport cube. This is a fantastic tool for quickly changing the viewing angle. Clicking on one of its faces will snap your view to that orthogonal direction: front, back, top, bottom, left, or right. Clicking on an edge or corner will give you an isometric view. You can also click and drag on the cube to freely orbit around your scene, giving you a dynamic way to inspect your work from all angles. The grid we see in our viewport isn't just for show. It can be useful reference. You can customize it by right-clicking in any viewport and selecting Grid and Snap Settings. Here, you can adjust the grid spacing, which determines the size of the grid squares and the number of major line every nth grid lines, which helps you visualize large units. Tailoring the grid to your project's scale can make precise placement much easier. Before you start modeling anything complex, it's absolutely crucial to set up your units correctly. Go to the main menu, click on Customize, and then select Unit Setup. Here, you have two main settings: System Unit Setup and Display Unit Scale. The system unit defines the actual real-world unit that 3ds Max uses internally. It's generally best to set this to something like centimeters or meters. The display unit scale controls how these units are displayed in the interface. Make sure these settings reflect the scale you are working with. For example, if you're modeling architecture, you would likely want to work in meters or feet. To illustrate this, let's say we have set our system unit to meters. Now, if I create a box and in the parameters panel I input dimensions of 2 by 2 by 2. This box will actually be 2 meters wide, 2 meters long, and 2 meters high in real-world scale. Getting your units right from the start prevents a lot of headaches down the line. So, as you can see, viewports are much more than just windows. They are your primary tools for navigation, creating, and understanding your 3D world in 3ds Max. Getting comfortable with different views, customizing your layout, and understanding display options will significantly improve your workflow and precision. I hope this more detailed explanation of viewports has been helpful. Please, if you have any question, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more 3ds tutorials. Thank you for watching and see you soon.